Sugar workers and protests. Chutney artist assaulted for refusing to sing. And whiptail to cost almost $13 billion US. I am Enrico Beaufort, and this is Uncut News. To see news happening, send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. The week-long protest by sugar workers in Berbice has been called off following an agreement not to transfer workers from Albion and Blairmont Estate back to Rose Hall Estate. The workers were demanding a severance package before any new transfer, but the union president confirmed that no transfer would take place and the demand for severance will be scrapped. The protest has set back the already poor production of gaisuco for this crop season. Nonetheless, the president said that his government is pledged to continue investing in the agriculture sector and supporting the sugar industry and its workers. The Commission of Inquiry into the Mardia Secondary School dormitory fire is visiting communities in Region 8 to better understand the area and the lives of those affected. The COI will inquire into the events and circumstances leading up to the fire, responses after the fire, and offer recommendations to prevent a reoccurrence. Public hearings are set to begin in September, and the Commission is developing a framework to protect the rights of children who may be called upon to speak. The COI has 2 months to deliver its findings on the case. The General Secretary of the International Union of Food, Agriculture, Hotel, Restaurant, Catering, Tobacco, and Allied Workers Associations, Sue Longley, has expressed concern about the increasing use of contract workers in Ghana and urged workers in the oil and gas sector to unionize. Longley also emphasized the need for equitable distribution of new wealth and protection of traditional sectors like agriculture. The IUF will work with its affiliates in Ghana to defend workers' rights across all sectors. The IUF General Secretary also spoke of the need for greater representation of LGBTQIA and migrant workers and the recruitment of such. Now for crime news. Chutney artist A.W. Lyrical alleged that he was assaulted and thrown out of a wedding house in West Coast Berbice because he refused to sing. Lyrical explained that he had just finished performing at another wedding in Berbice and was heading home when some friends invited him to the wedding in Bushlot Village. Whilst mingling with friends at the venue, one of the hosts approached him, shook his hand, and pulled him towards the stage. Lyrical refused to sing, and a few minutes later, 5 security guards allegedly attacked him and threw him out of the wedding. But those people were cheap. They should have just paid the man if they wanted him to perform. Krishnadat Ramana, a former SOKU officer, has been appointed as the new commander of Regional Division 4C, effective August 10th. Ramana was previously tipped to be the next traffic chief, but when asked about it, he directed inquiries to the acting commissioner of police, Clifton Hicken. Ramana had previously instigated the wrongful arrest of attorney-at-law Tamika Clark in October 2022, which drew condemnation from the legal fraternity, and including the legal affairs minister. One couple, a man and woman, were arrested for attempting to deliver 249 grams of cannabis to 2 inmates in a correctional facility in Ghana, which was unnamed. The woman was found with 22 grams of cannabis in a bag of toothpaste, while the man had 227 grams of cannabis hidden in a pair of flip-flops. The suspects are cooperating with investigators and are likely to be arraigned soon.
Attention truck owners. Between potholes, bad drivers, and high fuel prices, you've got 99 problems to deal with. But with Powered Automotive, your engine ain't one. That's because they stock high-quality parts and spares you need at prices you can't beat. Visit them at Lot 491 EE Eccles, or call or WhatsApp them at telephone number 6970171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Ghana.
Tired of waiting on hold, tracking down a delivery driver, or carrying cash for your food orders? GT Eat is here to make your life easier. Ghana's first cashless food ordering and delivery app. Choose from Georgetown's top restaurants, pay securely with your card, and get your food delivered right to your doorstep. With the convenience of being able to order from your phone and the added feature of tracking your order, GT Eats is the ultimate solution for all your food needs. Download the app on Apple and Android stores and start ordering the easy way today.
A mother and her 8-year-old son were found dead this afternoon at their home in Rose Hall in East Berbice Quarantine. The victims were identified as Melissa Orokium and her son Anthony Orokium, who was a student at Port Morant Primary. The woman's brother discovered the bodies when he stopped by to visit. The boy had multiple chop wounds on his body, while the mother had wounds to her neck and chest. 4 persons of interest are currently in police custody. 29-year-old teacher Shamir Basika was on Wednesday sentenced to 8 weeks in prison for assaulting a peace officer. Sir Beaton Teach was reportedly arrested on August 1st for the offense and pleaded guilty in court today. New York bank manager and Guyanese national Reshma Masarone was arrested and charged with racketeering and murder for hire for allegedly trying to hire a hitman to kill her brother-in-law. Masarone, born Bouj Basad, remained detained on a judge's orders on Tuesday as a danger to the community, and she supposedly had agreed to pay $10,000 US for the hit, but the hired gun informed the target of the assassination plot instead. The case can be traced back to July 20th when Masarone contacted a police officer she knew in Ghana and asked him to find a hitman for her. The officer turned his communications with Masarone over to US law enforcement, leading to her arrest on August the 23rd. I mean, come on, we all know the police force is corrupt, but seriously, you're going to ask a cop for a hitman? Reshma ain't too good in the head, is she? Now for today's oil update. The opposition has been blaming the current government for giving ExxonMobil a 1-year extension to explore for oil under force majeure, but it was actually Granger who approved extensions for Exxon's holdings in the Starbrook, Kanji, and Kaitra blocks and provided the company with an extension by waiving the period of March the 11th, 2020 to March 10th, 2021, which would not be counted in the overall lifespan of the prospecting license. In fact, this agreement was made literally just a month before he left office. And according to the agreement, the extension was granted because the pandemic lockdowns had supposedly slowed production down during that time. But you know what I always say, when in doubt, blame the Rona. And finally, ExxonMobil is targeting its 6th development in the Starbrook block, Whiptail, which is expected to cost US $12.933 billion and tap into 3 reservoirs. Exxon has not yet made a final investment decision and is still evaluating cost considerations. The company is expected to issue a final investment decision by October, and the Guyanese government has budgeted $100.7 million Guyana dollars to review Whiptail's field development plan.
It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today.
Now for our Uncut News Viewers Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and our youth for at least once. Last night I asked your opinion on parliamentary supermajority, meaning if we should have a 2/3 majority in order to vote for new laws in Parliament.
But before we get to that, I'm proud to announce our latest addition to the Noble Army, Richard Singh, who is supporting us at the reporter level, the highest level of monthly support we've received so far. So thank you, Richard Singh. And also a special thank you to David Griffith, Dion Nascimento, Project Zero, and Dimitri V. I appreciate you all. And if you're watching at home and you'd like to support our movement, just hit the link in the video description.
Colin Pratt thinks it'll be good for Guyana. At least we'll get them to do something good by working together. Meanwhile, Sadie Wilson says this would cause a problem, so it would need to have a criteria. 1. How is someone picked? 2. What are the responsibilities? The person must not be part of any political parties. The identities of the candidates must remain hidden to protect them and their families. It's going to be based on a rotational term of 5 to 10 years, but most overlap to facilitate change in government. There must be a balance between persons that the government doesn't infiltrate or influence. The candidates must be and should be focused on bettering the nation and the ongoing within the country to make it a better country. Some interesting points you raised there. But for the sake of transparency, I really would like to know who those candidates are, but everything else I agree with. Meanwhile, Dopamine says that they wish Jagdeo would just vanish. He's like a monkey on every Indian's back in Ghana. Can't go anywhere without Afro-Guyanese, especially some that have no sense of consideration for others, throwing down low talks at one, cause he and his cronies being rich or bettering off through their political scheme. He is a social burden to all Indians living in Ghana. You know, it's my true belief that as long as that man is still in power in any way, shape, or form in Ghana, true national healing and equitable growth is impossible, and I've yet to hear a solid counter-argument to my belief on this matter. Speaking of arguments, dopamine also suggested me reading White Guilt, Black Nationalism, and Indian Marginalization in the Guyana Times. And to be honest, I usually avoid the opinion section of local media like the plague. But I gave Dr. Passault's letter a read, and I believe it was actually very thought-provoking and raises multiple points that are, in fact, grounded in truth. And that is why I would charge this generation of Indian youth to do like the Afro-Guyanese, or just Africans throughout the diaspora, and create a pan-Indian identity by tapping into that amazing and fascinating 10,000-year heritage India has left the world and her descendants. I would also add that whites didn't automatically take on the guilt. It took centuries of black agitation and white agitation and other agitation as well to do so. Seriously, everyone in the world knows about slavery, but it seems like only former British colonies even know of Indian indentureship, but they have no idea about it in America, and of course America kind of leads things here. So, in this time of global political upheaval, I think it's high time for the Indian diaspora to tap into that power of white guilt too. Just saying, you might get rich. Aha! Now for tonight's question. I want to know, how do you feel about the government's handling of the oil industry thus far? Do you think you give it a good grade, a bad grade, A, B, C, D, F? I want to know. So think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Nico Bullfoot saying good night, folks.